Welcome to Money Monkey, a channel all about money and its uses. Today we're going to be talking about compounding interest. Quick caveat here. I've worked in financial services my whole career and have learned a few things about money I thought might be useful to pass on. These videos are designed to give you information, not advice. I want these videos to make you curious about money and give you some ideas on how best to make it work for you. Hopefully they'll support you in your journey towards understanding and using money efficiently. If you think they're useful, think about liking them and subscribing to the channel. So today we're looking at compounding interest. We're going to look at what compounding means, why do banks charge more interest than they pay, where you sit in the real world, and a couple of scenarios. So there are three types of people in finance: those who pay interest, those who receive interest, and those who sit in the middle and collect the net interest margins. What is compounding interest? Compounding interest is defined as the interest that is calculated on both the principal and accumulated interest, creating accelerating growth over time. So let's look at some key terms. Let's look at time. The length of time that money remains invested or borrowed. Time is important in calculating returns or costs, as longer periods greatly increase compounding effects. Rate, the percentage charged by a lender for the use of money or paid to a saver for depositing funds, representing the cost of borrowing or the reward for saving. Principal, the original sum of money borrowed, invested, or owed, forming the basis for interest returns or repayment. Finally, frequency. Frequency is the number of times per year that interest is calculated and added to the principal of an investment or loan. More frequent compounding, daily or monthly, results in higher final amounts compared to annual compounding. Is compounding important? Understanding compounding is essential when considering the long-term impact of financial decisions. Because compounding affects savings, investments, borrowings, and spending, it can have enormous influence on overall financial outcomes. So why do banks charge more in interest than they pay in interest? The net interest margin is the difference between the interest banks charge on loans and the interest they pay on deposits. It is a primary source of a bank's revenue. Banks will use it to cover operating expenses such as salaries, infrastructure, regulatory compliance, marketing, insurance, and risk management. The NIM also helps banks cover the cost of providing additional services beyond lending to customers, such as providing financial advice and custodial services. It's also part of how they make their profit. Compounding works over time. There is slow early growth. In the early years, compound interest grows slowly and is often underestimated by savers and borrowers alike. Accelerated growth later on. As interest builds on prior interest, growth accelerates dramatically in the later period of the compounding period. And importance of starting early. Starting early allows compound interest to maximize gains, avoiding costly delays that increase repayment burden. Right, this is the formula for calculating compounding interest. If you want to pause this slide, because I'll be honest, I don't really understand it. I use the rule of 72 when considering the effects of compounding. 72 is a simple doubling estimation. It estimates the number of years to double your money by dividing 72 by the interest rate. So at 72 divided by 2 equals 36 years in order to double your money. 72 divided by 8 equals 9 years. It's not 100% accurate, but it's worth looking at. Where you see compounding in the real world, where will you benefit from a compounding effect? Most savings accounts will offer small interest monthly. Pensions and investment accounts where dividends and interest are reinvested will see a compounding effect over time. Where will compounding cost you money? You'll pay interest on loans like credit cards, personal loans, and long-term debt like mortgages and student loans. What are minimum payments? The minimum payment is the smallest amount you must pay each month on the debt you owe to keep your account in good standing and avoid late fees or penalties. Minimum payments often cover little more than just interest, causing slow reduction in debt balances. One of my favorite quotes for you here: the best investment you can make is to pay down your debt, by Mark Cuban. Let's turn to some scenarios. Scenario 1, debt paid down over time plus savings. You have £1,000 in debt that you're paying 15% on. You have £1,000 in savings that you're earning 5% on. Remember, banks will always charge more interest than they pay. Over time, you can afford to pay £10 per month to pay down your loan. Due to debt repayments, you cannot afford to save. So let's look at the outcome. There is a significant minus 10% drag due to the difference in the interest rate between the debt and savings. Therefore, savings at 5% grows to 2,713. Debt at 15% grows despite the £10 a month payments to 4,743. Therefore, your net position after 20 years is minus 2,030. You are worse off overall. Let's look at the same scenario again. Paying down your debt with your savings and adding savings over time. You have £1,000 in debt that you're paying 15% on. You have £1,000 in savings that you're earning 5% on. You pay off the debt with the savings, so you have no savings, but you also have no debt. Over time, you can afford to pay £10 per month into your savings because you don't have any debt to repay. What's the result here? To 20 years. With no debt, there isn't the minus 10% drag on the balance that would require more money to be paid off over the longer term. Even starting with a zero savings balance, net wealth is much higher. Your net wealth in this instance is 4,110. So, the impact of both scenarios. In scenario one, higher initial savings are offset by the burden of the remaining loan, thereby reducing Jeff's net financial position. In scenario two, despite the initial starting advantage of scenario one's £1,000, this is eroded over time with consistent and ongoing investment in scenario two. Scenario two avoids unnecessary interest costs and maximizes compounding savings, which results in a higher net wealth over 20 years. Importantly, net financial outcomes matter more than isolated account balances when assessing true wealth. So here are some key takeaways. Interest rate impact. Higher interest rates greatly influence the amount of earned or paid, affecting net financial position. Consistent early actions. Small regular contributions made early outperform larger delayed contributions due to compounding. Power of compound interest. Compound interest significantly grows wealth over time by earning interest on both principal and accumulated interest. Importance of time. Starting early amplifies financial outcomes through the extended period of compounding over time. Some practical tips. Prioritize debt repayment. Focus on repaying high interest debt first to reduce financial burden and improve stability. Invest consistently. Contribute to savings or investments early and regularly and allow returns to compound over time for long-term financial growth. Simplify and automate finances. Simplify finances and use automation like direct debits to support consistent money management. And finally, cash flow management. Maintain focus on cash flow to ensure realistic and achievable financial discipline and structure. So that's it. Thanks for watching. If you're enjoying these videos, please feel free to like them, subscribe to the channel and share with your friends. I want everyone to make their money work efficiently for them.